Hey everyone, this is Kevin the Apptrepreneur. Welcome to my channel. Thank you for spending a few minutes of your time with me today as we are all cooped up in the house. And here's the thing. Yesterday I was talking about Uber and Lyft stock, and I was lamenting how much they had gone down and how difficult it was going to be for people who bought into the IPO to recoup their losses. Now, I had warned people at the time, please don't buy into this IPO. Now is not the time to do it. I don't see it's going to be a very good stock in the long run. I actually have even considered it would go to zero. Now, I did not anticipate what was happening right now, so I didn't think that it would even get to this point. However, the thing is, it's up today. Well, look at this Lyft stock. It was $15 yesterday. It jumped $5. You go to Uber, it was 15 something yesterday. Now it's up to 20 as well. What on earth happened to make it jump so much? Did the world all of a sudden start traveling a little bit more? Well, no, that's not what happened. In fact, what happened is that the CEO said something and, well, what do you know? The shareholders are definitely still believing this is a unicorn. So here's the thing. Uber CEO Dara Khosrowshahi, he had like a call with investors, and he said that to the investors that Uber had plenty of cash to get through the C virus pandemic and is seeing growth in other areas of the business as rides fall dramatically as people stay home. Now, I don't know about the first one. I don't know if they have that much cash on hand. I mean, they keep losing money because here's the thing. Well, I'll get to that in a minute. But if they have cash trying to get through the pandemic, then that might actually be like a bigger problem than they're letting on. But let's talk about how other aspects are going up. This is why I said Uber is probably in the best position to survive this. Because yes, Uber Eats is doing a heck of a lot better. People are ordering food a lot more, and they don't want to go out. So yeah, it makes sense that Uber Eats would in fact grow as a business. Now, is it growing enough to compensate for the 60 to 70 decrease in rides since then? I don't know. In fact, a couple days ago, the ride decrease had been 50%. Now it's 60 to 70%. So, yeah, that doesn't suggest that Uber is in necessarily a healthy position. Now, Khosrowshahi has said, we believe we're already seeing the worst of the impact in the recovery in some places. Once things start moving, Uber will too. I mean, look, we don't know if that's the worst. In fact, I believe I read today that Italy's death toll has actually surpassed China's death toll. And not only that, but we're finding that young people apparently can get very sick with this virus too, and it's not just the elderly we need to worry about. So now that the children can also be affected, maybe we should take staying home a little bit more seriously. I'm still surprised that Uber hasn't actually shut down the app or they haven't been forced to, but here's the thing. I'm also talking about why the news comes out like this. There's a little bit of good news and there's a little bit of bad news, and it's because they want to help the stock. If all the bad news comes out right from the get-go, this thing just goes to zero. But by sprinkling it out like this, it's like, hey, okay, so the rides are down 60 to 70%. However, we have enough cash to get through the crisis, which he doesn't know because we don't know how long this pandemic is going to last, but he says it. And then he says, oh, by the way, Uber Eats and maybe Freight even has actually increased since this occurred. And hey, good for them. I mean, I don't want Uber to go out of business per se. I don't think they're doing very well, although they have pointed out that the Eats business is an important resource right now because even in Seattle, the Eats business is still growing. And they did not update guidance on Thursday because the situation is so fluid, but Khosrowshahi said it could do so in the future. But he's here's the funny thing. In any crisis, liquidity is key. Yeah. Yeah, whatever. But here's the thing. Disney, for example, has already said that because of the virus, it's making it very hard to predict how revenue is going to be in the next year because they just don't know. We don't know if we're going to hit goals. We'll probably miss a lot of them. We don't know when things are going to get better. Disney's saying that, not even Uber. What's more, I think it will get worse because here's the second story I want to talk about today. but Amazon might have to actually start closing down warehouses. Now, I have been extremely critical of Amazon in the past, and I will continue to do so, but I will give them a little bit of, I will play devil's advocate and give them a little bit of credence in this, like credit in this case. First of all, Amazon is very important right now, because if you need to buy something and stores don't have it, Amazon will most likely ship it to you. In fact, for that matter, some people shouldn't go to stores. So in that case, yeah, Amazon's not the worst thing in the world. And for that matter, because of increased business, they are actually hiring like 100,000 new people. So they are actually creating jobs. And even though you should not do these jobs for very long because of the back problems and everything, they are creating jobs when people are getting laid off or fired. That's good. And they have even prioritized essential items over non-essential items. So, you know, if you buy your video game, you'll get it. You just might get a little later. Unfortunately, as this continues, some of those warehouses might have to shutter down, like this one, because Amazon has confirmed that the first known C case has wound up in a warehouse in Queens, New York. So, according to the article, workers at an Amazon warehouse in Queens, New York received a text Wednesday evening that they had long feared might come. We're writing to let you know that a positive case of the C virus was found at our facility today. This is a realization of a major threat to Amazon's operations. Millions of people across the nation are cloistered inside their homes, many of them relying on the company to provide basic goods. Amazon is already struggling to meet demand, and some employees feel they're being unfairly endangered by working in warehouses filled with other workers. Well, and that last one, I mean, that's like the biggest catch-22 of them all, because I agree they're working in unsafe conditions, but they are an essential business. In fact, this whole situation has kind of made me kind of point to people and say, this is probably why, you know, these people should be making living wages. Because when you start closing things down and everything, it's not the sports players that are playing, it's not the movie stars that are working. Who has to work through this pretty scary time? It's the grocery store people, the fast food workers, the Uber drivers. These are the people who have to work because they're considered essential. But they make the least amount of many of these jobs, and say an accountant who moves numbers around, and granted his job is important, but it's not essential. If he has to stop his job for a little while, okay, he has to stop his job for a little while, but you can't shut the grocery store. So there you go. It's unclear how deliveries could continue if workers who sort, pack, and ship Americans' goods start getting sick in droves. Though 2 office workers at Amazon Seattle headquarters have been diagnosed, this is the first confirmed case of the disease among the company's hourly warehouse employees in the United States. These workers make up the majority of Amazon's 600,000 strong workforce, maybe soon to be 700,000 because Amazon is hiring. According to the text, which was sent by a member of a workers group called Amazonians United, management sent day shift workers home in order to disinfect the sorting facility known as DBK1. Jonathan Bailey, an employee who sorts packages at the Queens facility, told me that workers were not notified of the positive case by Amazon management. He learned of it from other employees. That is a huge screw up. That is a huge screw up. Amazon, for all the good they might be doing right now, and it's one of those rare times I'm thankful they're around, which is rare, believe me. But the fact that Amazon is still basically treating their employees like robots, they won't even tell them this, you have to find out from other people, well, that is a disturbing lack of communication, and I don't know what to say about it. In an email to The Atlantic, Amazon denied this, saying that it notified all associates about the positive test and that workers were not expected to come in for their night shift. Well, hopefully an email can be produced at that point then. Rena Lunek, an Amazon spokesperson, confirmed to The Atlantic that there was a positive case at the facility but did not reveal the person's identity. We are supporting the individual who is now in quarantine. In addition to our enhanced daily deep cleaning, we've temporarily closed the Queens delivery station for additional sanitation and have sent associates home with full pay. So, hey, that's a positive that they're getting paid at the very least. But here's the thing. The positive cases are spiking in a very short amount of time at these warehouses because, you know, you put so many people in a room. Like, that's exactly what the government and the president is telling you not to do, but they're doing it. Now, Earlier this week, Amazonians United released a petition signed by more than 1,500 workers in which they demand the company provide paid sick leave to all its employees, even those who do not have a positive diagnosis, given the scarcity of the tests. And yeah, this is where it gets complicated, though. This is where it gets extremely complicated. I agree that they should go home. No one's life should be worth this, and yet they are providing an essential business. And it's tough. It's extremely, extremely tough. But these are little petri dishes right now. Like, they're no better than the movie theaters right now. But people are depending on getting their packages, especially since many cannot go to the store. But then also, we don't know how the virus attaches onto things either, or how long it stands there. So if someone has the virus and they're packing boxes, a bunch of boxes go off, and who knows how long they stay on the box. If you have same-day delivery, you could catch it by getting your mail. So there's just no winning in this one. But anyway, the reason I brought this up in this was because here's the thing. I'm getting a little tired of stockholders believing Uber CEO. Whenever the stock rises sharply, it's because the CEO makes kind of like a personal promise and he puts his reputation on the line, and that typically works. The thing is, there are no numbers to back any of this up. There are no numbers that Uber is going to be profitable by the end of the year. There's no numbers that show the worst is behind them. There's no numbers, no hard evidence that Uber has the cash they have to get through the virus. And if the biggest company in the world is getting affected by this in a negative way, Uber has got to be just struggling and drowning. Now, are they going to go out of business because of this? I don't know. I'm not going to go that far. I think Lyft has a real possibility of going under. Uber, because they do have the Uber Eats, I do believe, because it makes sense, that will continue. But we're going to have to just see. I don't see this getting better for Uber anytime soon. But as I did a story on my failed journalist channel, movie theaters in China are starting to open up. In fact, you know what? Here, I'll even go over here. We'll just do it real briefly. You can watch the whole thing on Failed Journalist. But the movie theaters might be starting to reopen in China, which that's a positive sign. That means life is starting to get a little bit back normal in China. And it's been 3 months, so 3 to 4 months is probably what we're looking at, and then things will start going back to normal. So hey, keep your chin up. Just stay indoors, wash your hands. Please don't go out unless you absolutely have to. We have so many things you can do in the house with streaming and everything, so please just stay home. But that's where we're going to leave this video, this topic right now. I'd like to ask, what do you think about all of this? Do you agree? Do you disagree? I would love to know. Comment below, like, favorite, share, subscribe, and as always, flame responsibly. Have a good one.